I think it's time to update the packing list I made in my previous video for HSCT, and since I've already had my HSCT and I pretty much know what to pack and what not to pack, so let's get started. First, I don't know if you can remember, but definitely what you should not pack excessively is too many clothes. That was the first and probably the biggest error I made. I took way too many clothes with me, and that was clearly a mistake, since in Russia the laundry service is very efficient, and basically the laundry service works at least twice a week, and so you don't need that many clothes. And during isolation time you obviously have your pajamas, and you get them from the hospital, so you won't be needing about for 1 week at least. For 1 week you will be just wearing the pajamas. Also, I had on my packing list a few things that in the end I found quite unnecessary, like the neck rest. Well, basically that was for the plane. If you have a long travel, if you have to travel long back home and for Russia, and you just feel that you need to rest your neck, that's fine, but I didn't find it necessary at all. And sure, if you have a big bag, well, it doesn't make much difference if you have a couple of things that you won't be needing. And when you are going to be admitted for the isolation period, your luggage will be most likely taken, so just take the things you will be needing during isolation time. But mostly I think there are more things that I really should add to the packing list than rather than remove it, so definitely needs an update. Last minute I realized that I would be probably needing this. This was taken, I took this basically, well, this is has a sticker roll just used for cats or dogs, just to collect the hair. Well, in my case I took it for my hair, so I used to do this on my, well, now my cat is looking at me. What are you doing with that? That should be used only for cats. Well, it can be only very, very useful for chemo hair. My hair loss was very slow. The process was very slow, and even the doctor was quite amazed how slowly my hair was coming out. But this wonderful thing helped me. In the morning I had my routine. I tried to roll, and each day I had more and more hair, so this definitely speeded up the process of made the process of my hair coming out much faster. Then when my hair was coming out, of course there was a lot of hair each day when I woke up on my pillow, and the nurse seats didn't always come immediately, of course, and I didn't expect them to come right the moment I wanted. So I used this to clean my pillow. There was much less hair around the room and much less to clean, so I just found this very useful. And after isolation, basically I had too many days in Russia. I think more than an average patient would have. I had 32 days, so just right after when I was coming out of the isolation, I felt the urge to start exercising. One day I was dancing in my room, and well, obviously the dancing wasn't probably the best idea because you could be interrupted any minute. because nurses come and go, and they bring you medicine and they bring you food, and just it's kind of awkward. So I think it's good to have, well, I found this rubber band very, very useful, because you can exercise your arms, even your feet, your back. And it weighs nearly nothing, so it's easy to have. And each time I exercised with it, I also was able to wash it afterward. So each time I used it, it was sanitized and clean. And I also got a bit of exercise, and since I realized that basically all my muscles were basically non-existent, so I needed to start exercising definitely. And even small exercises during HSCT, long hospital stays, are definitely beneficial, because it's very hard just to go home and realize that you have to start from zero. It's not forbidden to be at least a little active, so it's good for you. Then comes the tricky part. How much should I pack food? Well, some people took a lot of food with them, but they didn't eat it. Well, I took some food. I ate basically all the food I took because I was constantly hungry. Maybe mostly due to the steroids, because steroids have always made me super hungry. And actually, before having HSCT, I was pretty much certain that I would be vomiting, and just that I would have no appetite at all. But obviously the opposite happened, and I realized that the food that I had just wasn't the right food I had. Well, some of the food was okay and I was able to eat it, but most of the food was pretty much, I found it's disgusting, or it lacks taste, or it's too unhealthy, or it's basically, since the hospital food, the food served by the hospital is kind of what it is. Hospital food lacks versatility and lacks taste, and it's always pretty bland. So especially unless you have your own chef cooking for you every day, but that's not reality, of course. And you have to just pack foods that you usually like to eat. Or maybe if you have some foods that you like, it can also be the case that you start detesting those foods, since you just since you associate them with the chemo and the chemo taste, and so it's difficult to take foods. But personally, I pack all sorts of food: canned food, noodles, a lot of noodles, not healthy though. Food that are high in calories, because I assumed that I would be losing weight, and that pretty much happened to me and happens to most people. Some people lose less, some people lose more. You never know. At least you take some food you enjoy, some food you maybe don't enjoy as much, but it might become useful to you. It might become useful. You never know. But if I had to undergo HSCT a second time, hopefully I won't be. Hopefully I won't have to do that ever. I would probably pack more dried fruit, because it really is difficult for me, at least personally. I found it extremely difficult. The fact is that we are not allowed to eat fresh things, at least during our stay in Moscow, in Russia, during the treatment. So it's very difficult to just cope, because your diet is lacking those fresh sources of vitamins and minerals, the fruit and the vegetables, I just kept having all these dreams, and I was constantly dreaming about eating fresh. So probably a second or third best option is to take dried fruit, dried vegetables, maybe jams, crackers. Take crackers that don't taste like plastic or cardboard, because I found that I took some gluten-free crackers and I found them so incredibly disgusting. Well, probably because gluten-free foods are very disgusting, because they are basically made from starches that are also lacking basically everything. So actually, in the beginning, before my mobilization, I bought some canned fruit, and since I didn't have a can opener, it was quite funny. I just also bring a can opener, a bowl for soups and noodles, maybe a plate, and also some disposable coffee, tea mugs, cups, and also plastic cutlery. During chemo, after chemo, some people have this altered taste, and my taste buds were definitely disturbed, and I found using metal cutlery, metal forks and knives and spoons for eating kind of disgusting, kind of weird. They were uncomfortable to be used for food, and I just preferred using plastic ones instead. So it's good to have on hand if something happens. And sometimes in Russia, when the nurses bring the food, they tend to take the cutlery with them, so you are left with no cutlery. Sometimes you want to maybe wash them, so it's different, so you never know, but it's good to be prepared for anything. Also, hiking food, any food that is air dried is good, because it's basically food that is vacuum packed. It's good because it's high in, well, maybe not nutrients, but high in calories, usually, at least usually, and also it's very light to carry. Most likely won't take much space either. Something I really wanted and I was desiring was butter. Any butter, because I found that the amount of butter was not enough, and I was constantly complaining about it to my HSCT. The other patients, I was just constantly complaining about it and driving people crazy, and I think it was quite a bit of torture, because the amount of butter they gave out was not enough for me. But I guess I was just being oversensitive and just too demanding. And of course, in Russia, you can go shopping even in between and buy your own food. Well, chocolate, most people eat chocolate during HSCT, maybe pack less chocolate and less on the amount, and rather just pick chocolates that you enjoy and are good quality and don't taste like butter and sugar. This was it for the update of the packing list, and if something comes to your mind, something comes to my mind, I will probably add it later on. If I happen to remember something that I just didn't mention in this video, I can later on maybe make another update to this update video. So thank you for watching. Hopefully you found this video helpful, especially if you are preparing your own packings for HSCT. Thank you for watching and hope to see you next time. Bye bye.